everybody. Maitri from Growth Bytes. Welcome to one more episode of Expert Speak series. Before we begin today's session, let me ask you all a question. What does photography mean to you? Does it mean capturing your memories? Or does it mean sharing a story through your lens? Or is it just a hobby? Whatever it is, we all look up to photography in our everyday lives. And with evolving digital media and millions of photos being uploaded every second, the need for quality imagery and photography as a profession is certainly on demand, isn't it? But what does quality imagery mean? Does it mean learning the skills and techniques in photography, or is it more than that? Well, to answer all these questions, today we have an expert photographer, Francesco, who specializes in documentary photography. For him, photography is more than capturing quality imagery. For him, photography is sharing impactful stories from all over the world. It's an artistic outlet, and every picture that you see on his Instagram tells you an untold story of people from different cultures. For him, photography is capturing candid human emotions. So Francesco is originally from Italy and he's currently working as freelance documentary photographer. His work appeared in major magazines like Nat Geo, New York Times, Wall Street, CNN, Wired, and many more. Well, I'm really excited to get this started today with Francesco, and let's uncover and learn from him what all of us do have and what it takes to become a professional photographer. Welcome to Expert Speak series, Francesco, and it's really great to have you today. I'm really excited to get this started. So tell us a bit more about how it all started, your professional journey, and when was the first assignment that you started off?
Hi Maitri, hi everyone. Yes, I started like everyone else, like as an hobby, because I like photography like a lot of people do. The first recall that I have me holding a camera is just a picture that was taken by my father of me and my grandfather playing with my father's camera, and I was pressing the shutter of my father's camera, and I was 3 years old with my grandfather assisting. So that's the first time for sure I took a photo. But then for real, I took the first photos maybe 15 years later with the very same film camera on my own. And I started to photograph around because I liked it. I like to photograph in film just for the pleasure of it, like many people do, you know? Like I didn't have a deep passion for photography yet because there were so many things that I was liking, like many things that caught my interest, like environmental things or society things, artistic, cultural. And I just needed to find a medium to express what I wanted to express and condensate all these interests that I had. So at first I thought it was architecture, and I studied architecture in a university. But then after a while I realized then I wasn't so passionate about architecture. I loved it. I still like it a lot. And I have many friends that are architects and who are much better than me, but wasn't born to be an architect, I think. So I had to find something else. And at some point I realized that something else should be photography, which was the perfect way for me to express myself. And I was maybe 27 when I realized that, and now I'm 43. So I started late, but it's the best choice I could do.
Yeah, it's never too late. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So So you have been working on professional assignments since when? 2008 or even before that?
I started in 2004 while, and I started working as an assistant for fashion photographers just to learn the business side of it and the technical part of it. But I wasn't sure about what kind of direction I wanted to take with photography yet. So that was part of my experimenting part, and it took me a while to understand what kind of photography I wanted to do, and eventually then it became documentary photography. But before then, I tried to do different jobs like portfolio for models, or commercial shooting for food, or work in a TV show as a set photographer. Many things I've tried, and but it was all necessary to understand what I wanted to do. And work with magazines and newspaper was something that I really liked. And the first chance came in 2008 when I got the first assignment with the New York Times, and it was a very good start. But wasn't easy to get there, but it was the very first one I did. Yes.
Okay. So you are currently producing and working on assignments in India, Colombia, Italy, and many other places, right? So how do you go about deciding a theme for your photography, or what's the theme that you have for your photography?
Well, long-term projects are very important because they allow you to grow, because you get more involved. You have more time to get involved with the story and with the photography and with the language that you want to use for that story. But something that unifies all my long-term projects is people stories and people daily life. It's just small, simple things in life that we give for granted, but they always have a meaning. They are always related to some kind of environment. It can be natural environment, or it can be society relationship, or it can be historical background. Like everything that we do in life, even if it's small, is related to something, is interconnected. And people daily life allow me to talk about other things as well. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yes. Since you're talking about daily life, I think that really comes up well on all your Instagram posts. All your Instagram posts do have a story, and I think some of the images I looked at beautifully captures the human emotion of people. So my question for you is, I'm really curious to understand, when you travel around and try and connect with local people there, how do you approach strangers? Like, how do you just get into that frame of capturing the human emotions so candidly?
Well, everyone has his own way to approach this part of who you are, basically the way you relate to people and you approach them. But my way is to be careful, be respectful when you approach them, and always understand who you are talking to and the environment you are photographing. So the best is when you are honest and open, because people will sense if you are open or honest about your intentions, and that will help you a lot to get in. I mean, they will help you to get inside the story, to get accepted, to gain their trust, and also to establish a strong human relationship, because it goes beyond photography. Like you photograph some, let's say, intimate moments of someone's daily life, but you're also having a relationship with that person that you're photographing. So it's very nice to establish a good human connection between the people and you photograph. So just be honest and open, and that will help you a lot. Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned about maintaining the relationships and building that trust is the key to establish the human bond, right? Before you photograph. So do you have any good memories to share from, or let me ask you in this way, like what was the defining photography for you when you traveled across, to these places and connecting with the local communities there?
Yes, when you don't photograph from the outside, but you photograph from the inside of their circle, you get to first take good photos, but also you get to live amazing experiences. Like there are some long-term projects that made me live things that I would never expect. Like in the Colombia project, in a small village I was working in, and I've been several times. I was asked to become the godfather of a little baby there, and it was so rewarding because it meant that I didn't do only a great job as a photographer, but also as I did a good job in establishing a trustful relationship with them. They will stay. I'm still in touch with all these people, of course. They are friends, they are very close to me. And that's somehow even more important than the picture I take. And then also when you travel to places where not so many outsiders have access to, it can be very difficult sometimes, but to get there, to travel there, to be able to meet these people. But then when you do, and they open their heart, their houses and their mind to you, it's very rewarding. Yeah, it's worth all the hassle you can have, all the difficulty you can have in the trip, in the logistic, in the organization. And that happened to me in places like Iraqi Kurdistan, or in Western Sahara, in the indigenous tribe of Colombia, where they believe that they are guardians of the world and they don't let anyone into their territories. But then when you finally get there, it pays everything. Yes.
Okay. Right. Yes, I think I have, seen this one of your posts on Instagram, because you're talking about the indigenous tribes. I think there was one post which really captured, and made me think deeply. I think that was about your photographing experience in Panama, if I'm not wrong. I think you mentioned in that post how the daily locals go about, how locals there go about searching for food daily, right? I'm sure it must have been a very challenging experience for you. But when you get into such challenging assignments, there could be some amount of grief you might have to encounter when you connect so deeply with these communities, right? Learning about their daily lives, or the way they live, right? So how do you handle these conflicts? How do you actually manage yourself overcoming all this, and yet able to capture such, beautiful human emotions?
Well, it's difficult sometimes because you travel a long way to get there. Then you connect with these people, and you establish a relationship, and you get attached to them, and they get attached to you as well. At the same time, you see that they live social or political injustice, and it makes you upset about their situation. But then you see that some people, a lot of them, have this incredible vitality and power of a smile, a gesture, as hospitality and generosity, or the way they face problems. It's really inspiring me, and I learn a lot from what people do in difficult environments, and that keeps me moving, it motivates me, and teaches me a lot. So that is the main thing.
Great. I think that's inspiring. Yeah. So also, since we're talking about, your self-producing projects, so I want to understand what's the process or the planning that goes behind this when you begin your new project? Like, how do you go about choosing a destination or a theme for your next assignment?
Um, it is more about the theme than the destination because, okay, the destination sometimes it can be casual in the sense that I'm photographing on assignment in a specific place, and while shooting on assignment, I see another story that is next to me, which I think I should do next time I go to that place. But most of the work that I do before, the pre-production work, that it starts from my desk and starts from research. It can be a story I've heard from I read, or an idea that comes from a novel I read, from many different parts. It's not just news. I'm not interested in pure news, but I'm more interested in contemporary issues that have to deal. They are connected with other things. I like multi-layer stories, which I like. So you have to put a lot of information together. You have to do a lot of research and condensate them into one specific theme or subject. Then you decided to do the story and you go where the story is, and the real storyline happens there. You cannot build a storyline on your desk. You have to improvise while you're on the field, but you have to study before. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, what should one have to take up photography as a full-time profession? So, more from your experience, what are the initial lessons one should actually learn before getting into this and taking this up as a full-time profession?
Like now, these times, everyone is saturated with photography and images. Like we have photography on social media all over. They are so accessible from all photographers in the world. It seems like there are 1,000 times more photographers now than 20 years ago, which is somehow true. And like everyone has become a photographer, but there is a big difference of being a professional photographer to being like a photographer for social medias or similar, because the main task of being professional photographer is working on demand, working under pressure. I mean, getting the work done no matter what. I mean, you have to do that job that day, even if it's raining or you don't feel good or something happens, unpredictable things, you get the job done. And that makes a difference. That makes a big difference in photography when someone is reliable. So you have to make sure you don't find excuses if the photos are not good. The photos are not good because you have to do better. A good photographer should be able to take good photos even in an empty room. So that's the main thing.
Wow, that's inspiring. The question I have for you is, what's the career, what's next in your profession? What are the growth opportunities from your experience?
For sure, if someone gets into photography, has already his own heroes, his own favorite photographers, which is good to have because they are inspiring. You have to study them, look at their picture all the time, but and we all tend to copy our masters at some point. But then you have to evolve, stop copying, but just be inspired, because you have to find your own voice. And your own voice is very important to make it in photography because it makes you different from other photographers. So once you practice and practice and practice all the time to find your own voice, you have to build your portfolio at some point. And you don't have to travel to the other part of the world to build your own documentary portfolio, because stories are always close to you. You just don't see them because they are not exotic enough to you. But it's very important to start photographing what's around you first, because then you will photograph better what's far from you and you will understand it better. And that's the main process of studying photography. Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned finding your own voice is the key for anyone to explore deep in photography as a profession, right? So how did that happen to you? And probably are there any books or any of the works that, deeply inspired you?
Absolutely. There is a few books and photographers, but there is one that I love and also got to meet, and I'm very happy that I did. And it's, his name is David Alan Harvey. He's a historic photographer from Nat Geo. And I love his work. It's really inspiring because he works on daily life stories and daily life moments, beautiful moments of serendipity there in everyday's life. And it was very important for me. And I suggest a great book from him that is called Divided Soul. And he talks about the Latin America compared to the Spanish European world, which the relationship between the two things. And then there is another grandmaster of photography, which is Bruce Davidson, which published two really inspiring books, which are Brooklyn Gang and East 100th Street. And they are both shot in New York, and he's from New York. So he shot these books, and these are milestone of photography. He didn't have to travel anywhere to shoot this book. He shot it in his home. And that shows exactly what I was saying before, that you don't have to travel very far to do a project. And in Brooklyn Gang, for example, he spent several years hanging out with a gang from in the 50s in New York. And the photos are incredible. They are so, he's so inside the story, you can see. And that's inspiring to me. Another one, for example, is Joseph Kudelka, is a Magnum photographer that did a book called Gypsies, on the gypsies of Eastern Europe, which is a subject that has been photographed many times. But Gypsies by Kudelka gives you an example of how you can photograph the same subject that people have photographed and do something extraordinary anyway, because he definitely has his own voice. Yes.
Okay. Great. So yeah, finally, I wanted to ask you your concluding thoughts, or, let's say, what are top 3 recommendations that you would suggest for anyone who is stepping into photography or planning to start photography as their, full-time career or a profession?
The first one is the learning part. I mean, I didn't go to school, but I think some schools can be very helpful they will give you a structure or how to move in the photography world. And schools are also working as an intern for some photographers, or assisting some photographers, be close to photographers, which they are willing to pass their knowledge to you. It's very important, because you will understand many things by being close to them. And then once you start working, you will have to build your portfolio, show it to people. And it's not very easy to approach people, because photo editors, curators, or galleries have hundreds of requests every day, some of them. So they don't really have the time to answer to anyone. So you have to keep proposing your stories, be persistent, but not be annoying, because there is a thin line between being persistent and annoying. You have to make sure you don't cross that line. And it's not easy to find the balance. You, for example, don't propose something, and if someone doesn't answer, you ask again if they got the proposal. No, you wait, and then maybe you ask again when you have something new to propose. And that's actually the third suggestion that I have when you approaching someone, potential client or someone that could hire you, is to always have something specific to say. Don't just ask for people to hire you, but propose a story, propose something, propose a project, show something that you think is good for that magazine, specific magazine, or that specific gallery, not something generic. You have to motivate why you are writing to them and why you're proposing that specific thing. And that's important. That gives you much more possibilities for people to listen to you. Yes.
Great. Well, I think it's really great conversing with you today, and I'm sure that there's a lot more coming from you because your Instagram is full of stories, and we would love to expect. Of course, we would love to see more stories coming from you. And thanks again. Thanks for your time and valuable advice and tips.
It was great to talk to you, and I could talk for hours, but hopefully I can keep talking through my phone.